As pro wrestling fans, we all have wrestlers that we love and wrestlers that we may just not appeal to. Well, I'm going to share 10 popular wrestlers that never really just appealed to me. Now, before I give you the wrestlers that I never appealed to, it doesn't mean I hate these wrestlers. I don't really hate any wrestlers. I just never really gravitated towards these wrestlers like maybe some others have, and that's okay. And maybe you guys feel the same way, maybe you guys don't. But before this video starts, make sure you guys subscribe, like, share, comment, and turn the notifications on. That way you can be updated on all videos that I upload on this YouTube channel. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you've come to the right channel because we do nothing but wrestling content on this channel, man. Like I said, before I reveal these superstars, I don't dislike these superstars by any means, like hate them, like I wish them all the best. I just never really appealed to them, maybe because of their wrestling style or their character work. Like, they just never really appealed to me. So I'm going to give you my 10 wrestlers, and you guys can share in the comments below maybe 10 wrestlers that you never appealed to as well. Alright, Jeff Hardy fans, relax. You see Jeff Hardy right here. So let me explain why Jeff Hardy never really appealed to me. I don't hate Jeff Hardy. He's a legend. You'll never hear me discredit, his wrestling legacy. He's one of the all-time greats for a reason, I understand why, he appealed to certain audiences because, he was unique, the charismatic enigma for a reason. His style was different, the face paint and everything. He found a way to connect with the audience. But for me, I just never really found myself connecting with those people. Like, I just never really connected with Jeff Hardy, I guess, on an emotional standpoint. Like, when you emotionally gravitate towards a wrestler's character or gimmick or style, I was just never one of those people. I was happy when Jeff won the WWE Championship in 2008. I was really upset, actually, when he lost it at the Royal Rumble in 09 because he never really got that proper world title run in the WWE that I believe, he could have really had around that time, especially the 09 and 08, 09 peak of Jeff Hardy, where he was super popular. Like, people were saying he was bigger than Obama at that time frame, like, that's how popular he was. That's probably one of the most popular peaks I've ever seen in WWE history, man. It just, because of Jeff's, personal demons and issues, he never really got that proper push in the WWE as one of the top world champions that most people wanted him to get. But I just never really appealed to Jeff like that. I never hated him, but I never, was crazy about him either. I never, idolized the man and wanted to be just like him. I just never really found myself gravitating towards him too much, I loved his work in TNA from that 2010, 2013 era. I know he was in TNA before then, but 2010 to about 2013, I believe he was the face of TNA, you could argue. Now, we know he had some issues in between there and some things that happened in the company that, almost really kind of crushed his legacy a bit. But I've always thought Jeff Hardy, was a dope superstar. He was great for his style and everything. And, it was always fun to watch him take high risk and do high risk things. I just never really was one of those people man, that's my guy right there. Jeff Hardy's my all-time favorite. I just never really appealed to Jeff much. And I think, part of that is too because I think most of his big feuds, he was always feuding against people that I just liked more. One of them being CM Punk, that 2009 feud when CM Punk cashed in Money in the Bank at Extreme Rules. I was one of the people that loved it. I was happy because I'm a big CM Punk fan. And, around that time frame when he had cashed in and then he turned heel and started doing the whole straight edge society stuff, that made me even more of a CM Punk fan. So, maybe just because he was always feuding against people that I just maybe gravitated towards too more, but just never really found myself being a big major, Jeff Hardy fanatic. We're gonna go with one of the most popular WWE superstars right now, LA Knight. I don't know, man. I just don't get it, I guess. I understand why people like him. I think, he brings a lot of nostalgia for maybe some of the hardcore Attitude Era fans because I've heard people, say LA Knight reminds them a lot of The Rock or Stone Cold as far as, maybe his presence with his promos and stuff like that. And that's dope, but I don't know, man. I'm just not hip to the LA Knight, fandom, bro. I just don't appeal to him like that. He's cool and everything, and, I'm happy that he's gotten over and everything. He deserves all the flowers he can get because he's been busting his ass and putting in the work, for years and years before he even, came to WWE when he was Eli Drake and, Impact and all that stuff. So, I don't know, man. I'm just not crazy, about LA Knight. I just don't appeal to him, man. I don't know what else to really say. He's just not somebody that I watch and be like, man, that guy is somebody that I want to be like, or that's one of my favorites right there. I don't know. I'm just not appealing to him. His gimmick and everything. It just doesn't rock with me, I guess. Let's go a little old school with this one, man. Kevin Nash, aka Diesel. Never really, found myself appealing to his gimmicks either, man. Whether they were good gimmicks, like Diesel or Kevin Nash, or they were bad gimmicks like Oz. Welcome to Oz, welcome to Oz, welcome to Oz. I had to do that, for the fans out there. I just never really found myself, appealing to Nash as much. He is a legend, one of the best big men, I think, but I always prefer Razor Ramon, RIP, Scott Hall. I always thought his gimmick and everything as the bad guy and stuff was more appealing. Like, Razor Ramon was cool as hell, man. Like, he was one of my favorite old school wrestlers. But never really found myself appealing to Nash too much. Awesome guy. I actually met him at SummerSlam in 2022 in Tennessee. Took a picture with him. Awesome guy. He's dope. Just never really found myself like, as far as watching him on TV, whether he was in WWE, WCW, TNA, never really found myself just like appealing to much of the stuff that he was just personally doing. Alright, now I will say, even though I never appealed to the Bellas, Nikki and Brie, I do think they do need more respect as far as being legends for what they did in the Divas division and the era they were in. I know a lot of people like to crap on them because of the Total Diva stuff and their styles and everything. I think they did what they could do in the era they were in. They revolutionized it a lot because of their popularity. A lot of women did look up to them and want to be just like them, so I gotta give them a salute and credit to that. I never really appealed to them. They were never one of my favorites. I never really watched a lot of their matches and were like, oh man, like, Nikki and Brie are, my favorites, and I can appeal to what they do in the ring or their styles or their characters. Never really was one of those people, but their popularity, you can't deny it. I mean, I know some people crap on them because they're in the Hall of Fame and think they don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and you're entitled to your opinion if you feel that way. I think they deserve to be in it. All eras are different. Every era is different, and Nikki and Brie were just a part of an era of women's wrestling where you just weren't able to do the things you are able to do today. And as it was starting to evolve, they were kind of on their way out a little bit to an extent. They came back, timing, and did some stuff, but they weren't around to the full extent of, the women's revolution where you see it is today. They stuck around for a little bit during that revolution, but weren't around too much. I know Nikki had the neck injury, had to have neck surgery, so she was out, and Brie retired because she, was becoming a mother and she wanted to do other things. So, I just feel like the Bellas do need a little bit more respect, but I'm not gonna, sit up here and gap and act like, I was like an ultimate, like, Bella fan, because I definitely wasn't for real. Like, I just wasn't appealing to them. Jon Moxley, man, I've actually met him before too and took a picture of him, and I know some people are probably gonna think like, how can you take a photo with somebody or meet somebody that you don't really appeal to? I actually ran into him in the airport, but I think there's a difference between not appealing to people and just being a flat out hater. Like, I'm not a hater. Like, you'll never see me say like I hate the certain wrestler or dislike the certain wrestler. I believe all wrestlers bring something different to the table if they have unique styles. Some wrestlers are really good at wrestling in the ring, but they may lack in character and promo ability. Some people may have great characters, but they may lack the wrestling ability, which makes them limited in the ring. Like, some people may have the total package. Some people may be able to do all of it. Like, everybody can be a little different, have little styles, but just because you don't appeal to certain people doesn't mean that, you don't have to not respect what they do. I respect Jon Moxley. I respect him for putting his body on the line for people's entertainment and the type of style that he is, with a more extreme hardcore style. I respect him for what he's doing for a living, and, he was a nice guy. He's an awesome guy to me, but I just never really appealed to his gimmick and what he's done. He was always my least personal favorite member of the Shield. Roman Reigns and Seth I liked more when they were in the Shield together as a group, and even when he went to AEW, I just never really was a crazy Mox guy. Like I said, I respect what he's done and his craft and everything. He's turned himself into a legend for sure. All three of the members of the Shield have gone on to succeed and tremendously, and have great careers and everything. But as far as being like a huge Mox fan, I just never been one of those type of people to be like, a diehard screaming, Jon Moxley guy. I'm gonna throw the Big Show in here. Now, I haven't met too many people who have said the Big Show was their favorite wrestler. I'm sure there are some people out there, but I just haven't met too many of them. For me, I'm just gonna throw him in here just because I feel like the reason I could never appeal to the Big Show is because WWE never took him serious enough as a giant, especially with the constant babyface and heel turns that he's had in his career, probably more than any superstar in WWE history. I mean, he had so many freaking heel turns, so many freaking babyface turns, and I feel like they never appealed to him as a giant because he lost too many credible matches that he just really shouldn't have lost, tapping out to people as a big man. And I don't know. It just kind of discredited him as a giant, I feel like, especially when you look at somebody like Andre, who they try to compare him to. I mean, in WCW, they called him the giant. He was Andre's son and everything. And you could believe that because he's another giant and he kind of appeals to Andre. But if you look at Andre's resume, he protected himself as a giant. I mean, they said he was undefeated for 15 years. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that's just what they have said. They said he was undefeated for 15 years before he lost. And if that's true, it's kind of insane. Which I honestly could believe because back then, it was territorial wrestling and styles were just different back then, you know what I mean? So they could protect Andre's gimmick, for some years to make him a special attraction, which they ended up doing. And I just feel like WWE, they just never did that with Big Show. They had him turn face too much. They had him turn heel too much. It was just too much, all around. I keep saying too much, a lot, but you get the point. Like, this never could appeal to Big Show. Not because I just couldn't appeal to his gimmick or anything, just because it was just hard to. Like, WWE just made it hard for me to care enough about him when they were always changing his gimmicks or they were just making him lose too many big credible matches that you knew he just wasn't going to win. The Heartbreak Kid, the showstopper, Shawn Michaels, he's the greatest interim performer of all time in my opinion. I've never seen this guy have a bad match. He could have a 5-star match with a broomstick if he wanted to. He was just that incredible. I've seen so many great Shawn Michaels matches. He's had so many 5-star classics. Anybody who says otherwise is just delusional to me. Like, Shawn Michaels is just all around incredible. But as far as the Shawn Michaels gimmick, could never get behind it, man. It never really appealed to Shawn. Wrestling wise, I can't say anything bad about him being a wrestler. I mean, like I said, he's phenomenal in the ring. I think he's the greatest in-ring performer of all time. Like, he's just so well rounded and he's just such a great performer in the ring. Like, he could have a match, a 5-star match with anybody, literally. Like, WrestleMania 24, Ric Flair was 59 years old, bro, and he gave Ric Flair one of the best retirement matches ever. Like, Shawn Michaels is just great all around, man. But I could never just get behind the Shawn Michaels gimmick, the whole sexy boy and showstopper stuff. Just, I don't know, man. It never really appealed to me. The gimmick just didn't hit for me. But as far as a wrestler, he's phenomenal. Rey Mysterio, greatest masked wrestler of all time, I think. Greatest luchador of all time as well. One of the best high flyers ever. But I never really appealed to Rey either. I was always more of an Eddie Guerrero guy myself, too. I think that's a little bit part of the reason. The matches that Eddie and Rey have had throughout their careers were sensational, but I just always appealed to Eddie more than Rey. Eddie Guerrero was my first favorite wrestler when I actually first got into wrestling. Everything about Eddie, his charisma, his style, his in-ring work, it just everything about him, bro. Like, he just gravitated me towards the camera instantly, man. Like, you felt the emotion. Eddie Guerrero can make you feel when you were watching him wrestle. Like, he just was all around sensational, man. May he rest in peace, one of the greatest of all time. But, I don't know. Never really found myself appealing to Rey. I always think WWE kind of made it hard for me to appeal to Rey too because it was just hard to take him serious. I think because of his size, WWE always put him in situations where he was just getting beat up constantly. Like, he was just always getting beat up by people for no reason, man. How many people have turned on this man, throughout his career? Like, I feel like everybody turns heel by turning on Rey Mysterio. Eddie Guerrero, Batista, his own son. Like, everybody turns heel just by turning on Rey Mysterio, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Never really found myself appealing too much to Rey or caring enough about his gimmick. His style of wrestling was dope, though. It's fun to watch him wrestle, especially back in the younger days of his career where, he was able to do a little bit more in the ring as far as the high-flying aspect before he had, the knee injuries and stuff. But Rey Mysterio is a legend. He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. Well-deserved. This never really was like a big Rey Mysterio type guy. You know what I mean? Like, I just never really appealed to him. I gotta throw Liv Morgan in here, man. I think a lot of her fans just be ranking her a little bit too high that she just isn't at right now. I think they put her in too many conversations she also doesn't belong in. I think Liv Morgan has potential, but I think a lot of people try to put her in the higher echelon like she's in the same type of breath as, a Becky Lynch or a Bianca Belair or Charlotte Flair, and she just doesn't belong in those conversations as of right now. She's not there. She's just not there. Now, I will say, I think her championship run was bad booking for her. I think they rushed her championship run. I think after she won Money in the Bank, they should have had her held, the briefcase for a little bit to continue to build her up before she had cashed in, but they had her cash in so early, and then they instantly put her into a feud with Ronda Rousey, which was a detriment to her. I don't think a lot of the fans really bought into Liv Morgan's gimmick beating somebody like a Ronda Rousey. I don't think a lot of people could believe that from a wrestling storyline perspective, and I think it was a detriment and a downfall to her. You know, I think Liv Morgan does have potential. I definitely think, you know, her promos could improve. Her in-ring style, I think, is fine the way it is. And obviously she has the popularity, you know, from her fans. You know, a lot of her fans, you know, really love her and are really behind her. And I think they see the potential in her as well. But for me, I just don't connect with her, man. I just never connected with her in the Riot Squad. Haven't connected with her through the singles run. You know, I was happy that she cashed in and won the championship. She deserved that moment, but I think it was rushed and it was too early. And after that championship run, I just think it just proved that she wasn't ready. You know, if she was ready, I think WWE would have had her beat Ronda Rousey just clean, straight up, without any confusion or any unnecessary, you know, drama attached to it. But I don't think WWE believed in her gimmick at that time either, to believe that she was on the top level of the top women superstars in the company at the time frame. So I think they rushed it too much. I think it was a downfall to her. But I definitely think she has potential, man. I really do. I honestly really think she has a lot of potential to be in the categories that some of her fans feel like she belongs in right now. Just as of right now, I can't put Liv Morgan in the same type of category as Charlotte Flair. She just doesn't belong in that category. Last superstar I'm going to touch on is Y2J, Chris Jericho. Never really been a big Jericho guy. You know, I've appreciated his work. You know, that suit and tie Chris Jericho in 08, man, when he was calling people hypocrites and stuff, phenomenal. I think that was his personal best work. When he came back and was doing stuff with the list and, you know, that 2016 era, that was phenomenal stuff, man. But that was the last time I think Jericho really peaked at a stage. Everything he's done afterwards, his stuff in New Japan was fine too, as the Painmaker and all that stuff, and he did some cool stuff in AEW as well. But I don't know, man. A lot of people are calling Jericho like Jericho Hogan now, because he's winning matches that they feel like he shouldn't win, and winning titles that they feel like he shouldn't be holding at this stage in his career. I don't know if I would go that far, but Jericho's a legend for sure. First ballot WWE Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer in any wrestling promotion. Just never really a Jericho guy, man. I never really was a Jericho guy. Never really found myself rooting for him in pretty much any situation, if I'm gonna be completely honest. If I'm gonna keep it 100%, like, keep it a buck with y'all. I don't think I've ever rooted for Chris Jericho in any match. Not because I hate the guy, just either he was wrestling somebody I liked more, or I just didn't care enough to want to see him win, you know, just because I just never really gravitated towards the stuff that he was doing on TV, even if it was great stuff. Like, you know, when it's great, but even when it was great, I just still never was like, man, Jericho, man, that's one of my guys right there, man. Jericho's that guy. Like, I just never really found myself appealing to Jericho that much. Legend, like I said, absolute legend. Just never been one of my favorites personally. Well, those are 10 wrestlers right there that I just never really appealed to. Some men, some women. Don't come at me crazy. Like I said, I don't hate these people. I don't dislike them by any means. I wish them all success. They're all respected by me because they're able to put their bodies on the line and able to go out there to entertain us fans, whether you like them or not. Just never really appealed to either their gimmicks or their styles, man. Just never really was my style. But maybe some of y'all feel the same way. If you do, let me know in the comment section. If you disagree, hey, also let me know in the comment section below. But also, make sure you guys subscribe, like, share, comment below. I'd really appreciate it, man. The channel continues to grow, so I appreciate the support on the YouTube channel as we try to continue to grow the channel to get bigger and bigger. Also, make sure you turn on the notifications to be updated for uploaded videos on this channel. If you're a wrestling fan, I promise you won't be disappointed by the content you see. A lot more content coming, especially, you know, towards the end of 2023, which reminds me, happy holidays, and, you know, future Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you guys have a safe holiday as we head into the new year, 2024. I'm gonna start cooking, man. I got a lot of stuff and a lot of content that I want to put out next year, man, and I really have some big goals that I hope to look back on this video and say, you know what, I accomplished it and did it, man. So appreciate all the support. Also, make sure you go follow the other social media content, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter for more content wrestling related as well, or more chances to interact with me if you want to interact with your boy as well, man. So appreciate the support, and let me know how you guys feel about the video, man. How you guys feel? Are you upset with some of the wrestlers that maybe I don't appeal to that you like, or do some of y'all agree? Let me know.